Hello, Vadim. I think today we might be. I think everyone's feeling is feeling tired, so I think we might be. We may not have a ton of people today on this call, but that's no problem because we're gonna record it. It's gonna be on the YouTubes. I think everyone is worn out. I'm sure you feel it too. I'm definitely worn out. I think I've reached that point like earlier in the week. I just kind of reached my limit, I think. How are you feeling?
The same. It's tiresome, definitely.
Yeah.
I had to, like, one night I just woke up and I just exhausted, just, like, fall back asleep. You need your sleep, and I can't fall asleep. I'm praying, thinking about that. The YWAM was really stressful. YWAM dealing this week was really stressful. I was a lot of frustration. Like, they called me today and they're like, all right, we have Yaroslav there. I'm like, too late. Like, they left already. I needed that 3 days ago. To go, like, easily to go through that, but they're like, okay, if it goes, like, thank God it goes to into Ukraine, we'll go and pick everything up. Do you need coolers? Do you need a fridge? So things like that. But it's working, and that's amazing.
I know. We're Diana, hello. Haven't seen. Well, I spoke to Diana yesterday. Diana is connecting audio. Hello, lad. Hello, Alex.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going all right. We're just talking about how we are tapped out.
Yeah.
How's your family? How's your family in Kharkiv?
They're fine. They're good. Their food is coming in, so that's good. Vadim connected me to. He found some guy in Kiev because I found some food in Kiev, and the transportation was a struggle to find. But he pointed me to one guy, and that guy pointed me to somebody else. Anyways, we found an empty van going from Kiev to Kharkiv, and they just loaded it up about 2 hours ago, and it's going to be heading out east in the morning.
That's great. Like, protection to them, because those roads, I know that the drivers, they know how to go. Like, some of the relatives were actually, like, relatives were leaving from Shostka, and my friends were tracking their GPS location to see how they were going. Oh my goodness, that route, crazy, like, through villages, smaller towns, not even getting to the main road, to the interstate. It's just crazy.
Yeah, they're saying that, it used to take 7 hours to get to Kiev. Right now it's 20 or more.
Yeah. And that's, block posts is one of the things that, sometimes you're like 5-10 kilometers just waiting in line to go through a block post. But most main roads are not a safe place to drive.
Yeah, I guess there's also some documentation that they have to fill out and do. Like, if there's a van and it's not from Kharkiv, they, like, are not going to let them back in.
Yeah.
Like, the van needs to be registered in the city that it's going to, or returning to, and it has to have documentation, and it's,
yeah. Yep, that's true. That is true.
We're gonna wait a couple more minutes for others to join, and then we'll kick it off. Welcome to the new people that have not been on this call before. This call is recorded, and it will be on on our YouTube. We're gonna put it up on YouTube. The last call had 47 views on YouTube on the recording. So I think more people are going to be watching it on the recording than on this live call, which is why we'll probably have fewer people today. Also because everyone's exhausted. I think it's been a month now since the war started, and I think even though people joining here are from the States, basically, of what I would assume, even though we don't have a war in our backyard, we are psychologically exhausted, and it's sometimes it almost feels embarrassing to say, because we're not fleeing, we're not facing hunger, we're not facing the things that Ukrainians are facing right now, but nevertheless, psychologically you can't help it. You just get overwhelmed and you get tired. So I'm assuming you guys on the call feel similar if you've been following the conflict. Our team is definitely feeling it. We are exhausted. I don't know how else to say it. We've sort of reached that point of, hello, Katya. We reached that point of just being completely drained. Unfortunately, that's the bad news. But the good news is that what I've been reminding myself of is that this war is not going to go on forever. Like all wars, it will end. And we needed to act when the war started as fast as possible. And that's when we needed to invest most of our time and energy. And now that we've done that, the partnerships are set, the money is collected, a lot of money is collected, and now it's just a matter of sending it over there, and for people there on the ground to be doing the work, which I'm sure they're even more exhausted than we are. I mean, that's definitely the fact. But from our side, from our organization, the most important thing, I think, the most important steps we've already done. We collected funds, we established partnerships, we started sending those funds. So right now we're sort of, we're not exactly on coasting mode, because we're still doing a lot of work on the administrative side. We're still getting in touch with new partners on the ground. But certainly this isn't where we were 3 weeks ago. Because 3 weeks ago we were putting in, I mean, I know I was putting in as many as 10 hours a day back then. Now we're down to much less than that. Anyways, we're gonna have a shorter call today than usual, because again, we are just tapped out. That's just the truth. And these calls do take a lot of energy to get prepped for. Like I mentioned just a minute ago, this call is being recorded, and most people watch the call on, we created a YouTube channel, and you can find it yourself. And even though we get maybe a dozen people or so on this live call, over 40 people watch it online on YouTube. So more or less we get about over 50 people watching it. All right, so updates for this week. I'm gonna repeat a few things again for those that are gonna be watching this for the first time, or for those of you that are new on the live call. I'll go through what I repeat. I will go through as quick as I can. And if you want more details, please watch previous recordings. You'll find them on YouTube. All right, so real quick recap about what Grace Tea is. It was founded 10 years ago. We got the 501c3 status. Vadim, if you can mute yourself. We got the 501c3 status, and it was inactive until the war started. When the war started, I decided to reactivate it. We, with the help of Alex here on the call and other volunteers, we were able to launch a website in 48 hours, and we started collecting money. There was no plan or long process of preparation. It was like, hey, we want to help. We think we can collect some money. Let's try to do that. So we just launched it and kind of saw where it went. We have 10 plus volunteers on the US side, helping everything from helping with blog posts to graphics to website to admin stuff. We have 10 plus partners. I believe we're approaching 15 partners in Ukraine on the ground. And our criteria for choosing these partners is that we know them personally, or we know someone who trusts them and knows them personally, and people who are already helping in Ukraine. We don't partner with anyone unless they are already doing something in Ukraine. And we don't have any operational expenses because I cover them out of my pocket, and a couple other friends have pitched in. And so everything that is donated goes to Ukraine, minus the bank processing fees, which all total to about 4%, 3% when we receive the money, 1% when we send it. And we focus on civilians only. The mission of the organization as of today is to, you can read it on the screen here, but in short, when the organization was created, it was sort of a personalized way to help people on the ground. Instead of sending it to a big organization where that money moves to Ukraine slower and maybe not as efficient because they have overhead costs that they have to pay for. For us, we wanted to send money basically directly to people in Ukraine that need it. And our approach has been doing it through partners so that we trust them, we know them, and they send us reports on what they're doing there. So that's about Grace Tea. If you have questions about Grace Tea, if you want more information, always feel free to reach out. Transparency is number one, and I want to provide that for you. This is our team right now, what I would call the core team. I've added my wife, Marina. She's been helping now for a while. She's helping with administrative stuff, which includes making sure that we have records of everything, where the money is going, receipts, things like that. And this team helps on several hours a day. And we have half a dozen volunteers that help now and then based on need. So that's our team. And if you want to learn more, you can read on our website about us, or you can also watch previous recordings, which we go into more detail there. All right, progress so far is that I've shared this. We did the admin stuff. We did the financial side of things, being able to send money to Ukraine. The team, both in the US and Ukraine. And we started to help by sending funds to Ukraine. And the new one, I've met with attorneys this previous last Monday, and we just want to get all the paperwork in order. Like I said, the organization was opened 10 years ago. Back then, the purpose of the organization was supposed to be religious, and so on paper, it is still that case. If you Google our organization, you'll see that the purpose of it is religious. That is because that's how it was established. But because we have been inactive all these years, we haven't updated the purpose. So when we started sending money to Ukraine, we did not update the status to humanitarian, and that is what the attorneys are helping with. But everything else seems to be in good order. So we're going to be bringing all the paperwork up to date. Yeah. So essentially, they're reviewing our status and making sure that we're in good standing on all accounts. All right, financials so far. 1 second. By the way, as I'm talking, if you have questions as I go, you can use in Zoom, there's like a raise hand option. You can ask your question that way, or you can just put it in chat and we'll get to it. And like I said, today's call is going to be shorter. We are simply exhausted. I'm not sugarcoating. I know any of you who have been following the conflict or doing anything, you're probably also very tapped out. And we're just trying to take care of the most important things, which is collecting money, sending it to Ukraine. Anyway, So as you guys know, we collected over $100,000. Last Saturday, I reported that we collected $100,000, and since then we collected another 20,000. You see a lot of numbers on this screen. You can screenshot it if you want to take a closer look, but basically it breaks down to at the very top. This is donations through our website, 85,000. Cash and checks, mostly from businesses and churches, is 23,000. And then grants is about 11, almost 12,000. Grants are given by other charitable organizations to us, and we hope that we can get more grants in the future. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, so 122,000 or so have been collected, which is really amazing because, again, I hope you understand, there was no planning before the war. There wasn't any infrastructure, there wasn't anything before the war. It was all a matter of, hey, there's a war, we want to do something, what can we do? So we just launched the website and people started joining. Vadim joined a couple of days later, and that's basically all that happened. You guys also probably heard about us from someone, and you started joining these calls. So this is very, very organic, very little, basically very, very grassroots. And thank you for everyone here who has participated by sharing about us, by donating. Really, really appreciate it. As far as sending the funds, so far we have sent 68,500 after fees. Our partners in Ukraine have received 68,000. You can see the bank fees for sending money over there. And in total, again, you can screenshot it if you want to take a closer look. But in total, as you see in highlighted, we have about $50,000 left in our bank account, which we will be sending over the course of the next probably, a few weeks. We started to think, of course, on what the long-term future of Grace Tea is. And of course, we don't know how long the war is going to last. My personal prediction, this is just based on what I've heard from the people who know more than I do, is it's probably going to end in April. But it's just, my opinion. Of course, I don't know. It could last another year or 5 years. I don't know. It could last 10 years. We never know. Every war is different. So my hope is that it does end in as soon as possible. And if it ends in April, this 50,000 and whatever new money we collect, hopefully we'll make it all to Ukraine in that period of time. We don't have the way I see it is, our purpose is to send money to Ukraine. It's not to run a long-term operation which will tell us, hey, we should hang on to as much money as possible, because if we're planning on distributing this money over the course of a year, then we should be very careful about sending a lot of money to Ukraine. The way I see it is, people need the food and gas and water right now. This is when they need it. When the war ends and the military action is gonna stop, then Western bigger humanitarian organizations are gonna be able to go into Ukraine. Right now, a lot of organizations are not able to go into Ukraine. So many of them are operating out of Poland, out of Slovakia. They're accepting refugees there, but we are one of the handful of organizations they can actually operate in Ukraine. So our help, our contribution is right now, not when the war ends. And sure, when the war ends, there will be many, many, many more needs. And as we collect funds, we're gonna send them into appropriate places. But the way I see it is, people need the money, people need the funds and to buy food and water today. In a month from now, the situation hopefully will be better, and Western bigger humanitarian organizations hopefully are going to be able to support Ukrainians on the ground. So anyways, all that speech to say that this 50,000, I am hoping that we will not have anything left by the end of April, because we will be able to send it to Ukraine and it'll be used to help people. As you remember from last call, we also got a $14,000 donation in clothes, which would bring up our total donations to 136,000. And Vadim will tell you a little bit more about medical supplies. We got Julia from California got in touch with us, and she said that she's getting a big donation of medical supplies to her, and with her help and with our partners, we're going to be able to get a lot of medical supplies into Ukraine. The amount of this medical supplies is 1,000 pounds, which is about 500 kilograms. And the value of it is undisclosed, because the less the value on paper, the easier it's going to get through customs. But there is definitely some value there. So we are participating. I wouldn't say that it's a Grace Tea donation per se, but we're participating in trying to get that stuff into Ukraine. So anyway, all in all, there is over 136,000 in donations made. All right, so I have also went through this last time, but this is our map right now. As you can see, that we can, roughly speaking, split this map into two, west and east. And in the west, we're either purchasing supplies and sending it to the east, or we're helping refugees. And in the east, as we discussed last time, the situation is dire because logistics have been broken. There are no supplies. Even if we send cash over there, they rarely can buy anything, except for maybe Kiev. Kiev seems to being restocked. And so for the East, we're trying to work with partners in the West, such as in Poland, to buy goods and supplies and bring it to the East. And Vadim will touch on that progress as well. So reminder that we have we kind of break it down into three types of partners. One would be small and sort of local good neighbor type of situation. We started to send more funds to them because they are able to help a lot of people, even though it's a small operation. And so typically they buy food either from the grocery store, if they still have food, or from farmers, and they pass them out to people who can't get food. In a lot of cases, the reason that people can't afford food is because either their pension just stopped, or they just can't work because of the war. They can't work, so they're not getting any sort of salary, and they just can't buy food. So we're helping them, and I'll go through that a little bit. And a medium operation is something more organized, where it's either a church or refugee center. We send them more because they're able to help a lot more people because they have scale. And the larger sort of scale is what we discussed, Vadim explained in detail last time, which is getting trucks of food and water and supplies in Poland and other Western countries and getting it over to Eastern Ukraine. So it's sort of a chain link of partners. Somebody buys them, gets it over the border, passes it on to other people, and eventually they get delivered to places that have completely run out of food and water. All right. Next is I wanted to show you kind of the behind the scenes of what we do and how we communicate with our partners. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to reshare my screen with sound. Done. Let's see. Share sound. All right. Okay. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how we communicate with our partners so that you see behind the scenes of how this actually works. All right, so how did we get to where we are? First, I'm going to show you basically the entire link of our connections. First, we launched our website. And we launched our website, like I said, in 2 days. Alex here on the call, he did most of the work on the website. Well, we launched this website and we added, obviously, as you know, the donate button. When people make a donation, it goes into Stripe. Stripe is what takes the money, the donation. And as you see here, this is the dashboard that I look at every day. This tells us how many donations were made with a credit card. And as you can see here, there have been almost 250 payments. Almost all of it has been unique donors. So roughly speaking, we had 250 donors so far. This money goes into the bank. And from there, we need to send money over to Ukraine. And the way that we establish these partners is that we have either we know them personally, myself or Vadim especially, and Anastasia also, that's part of our team, or somebody we know well knows them and can vouch for them. And so we interview them, we ask what they do, how they do it, and then it's time for us to send money. We do that, we send money through Wise, most of it at least. If you have relatives or friends that you want to send money to, this is a great way of doing it. Typically, it takes, we are able to send money within an hour of us sending it over. So basically, if somebody donates money, within an hour, we're able to send it over to Ukraine. And finally, back to my original point, what happens from there? What happens from there is that all of our communication happens on Telegram. Telegram, I'm guessing you know what that is. It's like iMessage, WhatsApp. It's a messaging app. And a lot of people in Ukraine, in Russia, in that part of the world, they use Telegram for communications. So what we do is we create a group for each of our partners, and all communication happens there. So let's look at one such group, for example, Skadovsk, which you guys have learned about last time. So here we have our team and our partners in Skadovsk. And here we hold all communication. They send us photos of people they help, like this. They send us a report, they send us receipts here. And they do a really, really great job of documenting how the money is sent. I'm going to show you this 2-minute video, which is not everything that we get so many photos and videos that there is no way we can share all of it on social media. We do share a lot, and if you want to learn how we use the funds, you should go to Instagram and subscribe to GraceT.org. But back to Telegram, a lot of the stuff we're not sharing. So this is a video that's super sad. If you understand Russian, it will be helpful for you. But if you don't, I'm going to try to pause and translate a little bit of what she's saying. And so this is one of the people to whom our Skadovsk partners have sent.
Расскажите, вот как вы сейчас вот на пропитание себе добываете.
Вот смотрите, 4 февраля была последняя.
So she's saying, he's asking how she's able to feed herself. And she said that I'm on the pension. My last pension was, let's see, that would be a month and a half ago. And her pension already is $65 for everything, food, everything. And so she is going to go through how she spends the money on her pension when she used to get it.
Не раз пенсия. 4 февраля. Это социальное. У меня года не хватило до стажу. Поэтому мне дали 1940. Хорошо, ладненько, спасибо.
А как же вы живете на эту?
Смотрите, минус 1940. Иди сюда. Смотри, 300 я баллончик запал.
So she, out of the 65, when again, her last pension was a month and a half ago. So she's describing what she used to do when she had the pension. She says that for heating, she spends that would be $10 a month for heating.
Заправляю всего лишь на 300. И 300 я чисто символически плачу за свет, хотя там
And then $300 300 grivin, which is $10, she symbolically pays for electricity. Usually it's close to $100 a month, but she can't obviously afford $100 a month. So she pays $10 as a sort of out of her goodwill for electricity a month.
2300 надо платить, а я у меня остается 1300.
So then she is left with, roughly speaking, $45 for food for a month.
Всего лишь.
На пропитание, да?
Мне их хватает на 2 недели. В итоге 2 недели меня выручают просто... У меня очень хорошие друзья, но 2 девочки хорошие, которые мне подкидывают когда-никогда что-то. У них там обеспеченные они. Теперь эти девочки от меня отвернулись. Сказали, у нас самих.
У них у самих, да.
Да.
там.
So typically that $40 lasts her for about 2 weeks for food and just basic necessities. And for the other 2 weeks, she had some acquaintances that would help her a little bit. But now that the war has started, they said, we can't help you anymore. We don't even have enough for ourselves. So essentially what this woman is describing is, even before the war, she needed help to survive because her food would only last for 2 weeks. Now, not only has she stopped getting her pension, but the people that used to help her no longer help her.
Проблема. Расскажите, а как вы вот эти вот апельсины раздобыли?
А апельсинки нашла на мусорке. У нас же
And he asks, where did you get these oranges? And she said, I got them in the trash by the supermarket.
Раздобыли.
А апельсинки нашла на мусорке. У нас же есть АТБ, вот это вот АТБ. И они там выносят списанные товары. Я взяла вчера помидор подбитых. Редиски мне жменьку дали армяне, там торговали на улице. Вот. И капусты пекинской насобирала штук 5 вот там в холодильнике. В общем, сварила борщик, с чего попало, лишь бы что-нибудь. То мне ребята сегодня купили майонеза, чтобы хотя бы хоть трошки что-то туда подавить. Потому что оно же без сметаны, без ничего, без никакого этого. На простой воде. Ну что у меня?
Ну, передайте привет нашим американцам.
Anyways, she goes on to describe how she makes her borscht. She found a tomato in the trash also, and somebody gave her a little bit of radishes, and she was able to use that to make borscht. Anyways, I'm showing you this to tell you that the stories, the heartbreaking stories here are just, as you can see, they're just unending. And this is just from one partner. We're very grateful that they film all this. Obviously, it's a little bit awkward to film, but they do it so that they can pass it on to us, and so that we can also show you, so that you can see what a desperate situation this is. And again, we don't have the capacity to post all of this on social media, and so I wanted to make sure at least I go through here. This is a handwritten receipt. As you can imagine, the receipt situation right now is not a priority because people are trying to survive, and a lot of times they buy it from places that don't have a receipt machine. So these are other receipts that they tell us this is how we use the money. And here's a ton of other photos and videos and such things. And this is a family that has no food. So that's one of the partners. Let me show you a couple others just to give you a feel for what happens behind the scenes. This is another partner in Kamenets-Podolsky. I should probably show you the map just for you to get a sense for who these people are. If I only know how to spell this. No, that's not Kamenets-Podolsky. There we go. All right, so this city is far enough in the west that it doesn't see a lot of military activity, but they're far enough south and east that they are able to travel to more dangerous zones. and help out people there. So sorry, that's not the, yeah. So here they're showing us what they're packing. They take this these goods into trucks and mattresses and food and things like that. So they send us photos like this, and we posted this on Instagram. So again, as you can see, there's tons and tons of communication back and forth between us. And as you saw hopefully on Instagram, but if you didn't, I'm going to show you. So this is Ugledar. Ugledar is right here on the map. So as you can see, that they drove, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe Vadim can correct me if I'm wrong, but they drove from Kamenets-Podilsky. Is this true? Is this, or were they partnering with someone? Vadim?
Yeah, they're driving there.
Yeah, so they drove. So this group, they're a church organization. They drove from the east. They drove all the way here to Ugledar, which is sorry, they're in the west. They drove east to Ugledar, and as you remember, and I'm sorry that I'm jumping around, but if you want to see the conflict areas, Al Jazeera is something I use. They're a Middle Eastern news organization that is more or less, well, everybody's biased, but more or less unbiased, hopefully. So they drove from the west, where there are no active conflicts going on. They drove all the way, like right into where the bombings and the war is happening. And so they drove with vans of goods, and so they sent us these videos of them coming out, driving up to a bomb shelter. People there, from what I see here, I think he said there were 3,000 people in this bomb shelter, I believe, hiding. And so these people ran out of the bomb shelter to get food and basic necessities. So as you see, they're just grabbing anything that they can get. And a later video, I think this one, you can hear that there are explosions in the background as they're grabbing the things. And here you can see that he says, if you read Russian, you'll be able to read it yourself, but it says right here, he says, in this video, you can hear the bombing in the city. Often sirens are not turned off because, often sirens are not on because there is no electricity in the city. People are suffering terribly. Stress, hunger, and depression is overwhelming a lot of people. So, sorry, it's sometimes like it's hard not to get emotional reading this kind of stuff, because I don't know, it's just somehow relatable. I was speaking to my mom a couple of days ago. For those of you that don't remember, I'm going to completely sidetrack here, but my parents and I, we lived through a civil war ourselves. In 1992, we used to live in this area right here. As you can see, it's a dotted line here. This is the Republic of Abkhazia, that's not recognized. And in 1992, Georgia war. There's a year-long war that was very, very real and brutal and terrible. And this, there's tons of terrible photos. Anyways, my mom was just telling me about the experience that she went through and how this whole watching what's happening is bringing her PTSD back, because we lived also with no water, food, gas, electricity. nothing for a year. And so watching pictures like this is just relatable and terrible. Anyway, we get a lot of reports here. They're telling us what they're doing. And finally, I'll show you one more. We have, so this one that I just showed you, as you can tell, they have vans. It's a more organized operation. They're taking food and water all the way to the east, putting themselves in danger. But we also have smaller operation. This Valentina is a friend of Anastasia, who's also on our team, and it's just her and a couple of her friends that are helping. And we also posted this on Instagram. But what they do is they just go to they go to grocery stores that are being restocked. So we send them money. They buy basic necessities, basic food. They package it, and they bring it to people who can't. They don't have work. They don't have a pension. They can't go buy anything. So a lot of people like this with grocery bags. And this is just 3 out of many that we work with around Ukraine. They all have a different story. They all have a different focus. They all do whatever they can. In some cases, they just buy food and bring it to people. This is the most simple approach. Others that are more organized, they try to evacuate people or bring food and water over to the east. And others, like in Poland, they may be working with refugees, and they're buying food and water so they can get it over the border, and that it eventually can make it to the east. So different stories, different efforts, and all of everyone who has donated, thank you so much. As we have now started to say on our website, and what we discussed last time is that every $25 feeds a family of 5 for a whole week. All of you who have contributed money and effort, thank you. On behalf of everyone who is being helped with those funds, it's difficult to watch. It's difficult to stay engaged because emotionally you just get exhausted. And you start, it's hard to continue caring consistently at that level for so long. But thank you, all of you, and all of you who watch this, all of you who are invested. Big thank you. I'm going to pass it on to Vadim. Vadim is going to update us on the logistics that we have been following. Vadim, take it away.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree. This week was probably the breaking point of, okay, the exhaustion is just turning some of the emotions off, turning some of the, desires to go through the news, to go through some of the things, but, we're just going through, and having the team that supports Danik and Marina and Anastasia and people in Ukraine, just seeing them going and doing and doing and doing. And, when I see drivers who are risking their lives going to the east, what am I doing? I'm not risking my life. Just the stress that I'm going through is so little compared to that. So everything is is revealed in comparison. So yeah, we have been very very organic in developing. So as I have mentioned last time, we have started with sending money to the east, like the war zone, people in need, and to realize that our money don't do a lot of help because people cannot buy stuff. The stores are empty, the warehouses are empty, no one can deliver food and produce to those areas. So the next step was, okay, where do we find people who are taking food and groceries to the east, all the necessities to the east? So we found several organizations, several teams that are doing it. In Kiev, YWAM have a big warehouse, and trucks are coming every day. Loads of trucks are coming every day. So we started sending people from the east to come pick things up there and take it to the people in need. So that was last week, and we are organically just trying to go with the flow of what's going on there. So the biggest thing last week we were talking about was we had several openings in Poland, organizations with trucks and food and donations just sitting there waiting to be sent, and we have a network of distributing that. So the plan was, and I was sharing, you can watch the video on YouTube, I was sharing Warsaw and Eastern Poland to send things to Ukraine, part to Rivne, part to Ternopil in Western Ukraine, and then distribute it and then send it further to the east. This week, several changes happened, and we were able to adjust to those changes. So one change is the green corridors were opened. What that means: evacuation corridors were actually finally open. People from Mariupol were able to evacuate. People from Sumy were able to evacuate. People from Shostka were able to evacuate. People from Donetsk and Lugansk were able to evacuate. So the buses that were waiting, Ukraine was sending the buses to pick up people, were actually finally getting through to get refugees and bring them to the West. What it also means that they are able to get humanitarian aid to those places. Stores are able to get food to those places. So instead of spending a lot of money for gas and for the drivers to go there, if the stuff is being there and available, we are able to buy it. So if Danik, if you can show the map with our dotted, your map that you created, no, not the arrows that you created, yeah. So if you can see on the northeast of Ukraine, those top areas, we weren't able to. We had people who were asking us, who would contact me directly, asking, "Hey, Vadim, we need produce, we need food," and like I told them, we can send money, we don't know how to get food to you, and they said, "Well, money doesn't do any good. Let's wait." Last week, in two cities, in Shostka and in Sumy, they got back to me and they said, "Vadim, we finally have food. If you can send us money, we'll buy food and we'll take it to people." Thank God, because logistically, trying to get things from Warsaw to Rivne to Kiev to Sumy through that entire, that's more than 24-hour drive, more than 24-hour, because usually it's 24 hours right now with blockades, with exploded and destroyed bridges, so that the Russian army would not get to the West. It's taking twice as long to get to those places. Now, the availability of food allows us to actually send money. So when Danik said that we have 10 plus and close to 15, yes, we have close to 15. We did add Shostka, we did add Sumy, and we did add Chernihiv, which is another up north above Kiev. If you see Chernihiv, that's in the last week and a half, that was the most bombed city, and it's just, as you probably see on the news, like the most, I don't know if you're still watching it, it's so devastating, as Danik was saying, it's just heartbreaking every time that it's, you have to take care of yourself and just like get out of it for a little bit, breathe a little bit, and then so that you can do what you can do. You can help people, you can talk to them, you can encourage them and things like that. So if you're watching the news, yeah, you will see that Chernihiv, you will see that city. And we have a really friend of Danik's father-in-law who lives there. They know each other from 1970s. The last trip of Danik's father-in-law, they connected in Ukraine, and he's able to get products to people. He was already sending us what they're doing, and we are just helping them, like, all right, you have access to food, here is money, you can get access to food. So we are reorganizing some of the things even as we go. So some of the plans to get stuff from Warsaw to Ukraine, to the east, right now is changing, shifting a little bit as we are able to buy stuff right there and not wait until the trucks are loaded, until they're taken there, going through all of the block posts and things like that. However, we already have sent some of the funds to those organizations in Poland, and the trucks are being sent right now because they are splitting things. Again, we are being organic. Where people need it, we are sending it. And now you can show the map that I created, Danik. Thank you. We are able to send money to where refugees from Odessa and that region, Mykolaiv and Odessa region, left to Bulgaria. Bulgaria doesn't have, like, even though it's very easy to get there, it doesn't have a big social program to help Ukrainians. So the organization in Poland that we are partnering with, they told us, hey, we have some people in Bulgaria, they are in desperate need. Can we send some of the trucks there? Yes, you can. So they're working simultaneously or sending trucks to Ukraine, to Bulgaria. Bulgaria is coming first. That's why I have it on the map. And the people there is a distribution, not a distribution center, a refugee center where people can distribute it to all that are in need. So that is going there. We still have a plan in Moldova to get things to Chernivtsi so that we can then distribute it to Mykolaiv. I just post Mykolaiv, but as you saw, Mykolaiv, Donetsk, Ugly-Rod that Danik was showing, those cities in the east, these are only some of the cities they're going to. Danik showed you just one, but on the way they're stopping in different spots. Their main point is Ugledar, but they can go to other cities on their way and bring things there. So it was great to see how our funds, our money is working, where they're taking it to, knowing that there is war, knowing that there is destruction and people are stuck there and cannot leave. We could get money there. Another way from Kiev to Kharkiv, that's another new thing. And we were talking just earlier this morning that it's so difficult. Their vehicle has to be from Kharkiv with Kharkiv registration plate to be able to go through all of the block posts. So Vlad, he is on this call. He was able to get access to food and produce in Kiev. And he is actually, it's without Grace T, I'm just showing you that this is happening. He is able to get drivers to take it to Kharkiv. So it's awesome. I was able to connect him with a few other guys who are already distributing food in Kharkiv. And if there is a need, maybe they can partner together. So these are the things that are happening. One of the biggest things that happened last week, probably the most tedious work that needed to be done because a lot of paperwork needed to be prepared, is the medical aid that is being delivered from the US to Slovakia, and it's still on the map. You can see little blue arrows on the west of Ukraine. So you can see there is Slovakia that is going to Uzhhorod, and this is what is going on. MedShare, and you see the warehouse of MedShare in California, agreed to partner with Good Samaritan and donate up to 2,000 pounds of medical goods. It got reduced to 1,000, and they were trying to buy as much as possible. They packed it all in the bags. In the suitcases, we're thinking boxes. These are suitcases, hard shell suitcases, and they are taking it all to Slovakia. This is Julia who contacted us, amazing lady. She went to a Good Samaritan school, has friends in Ukraine who are working with Good Samaritan Portable Hospital in Lviv and places like that. So we are able to partner with them pretty much because we have a distribution center in Ternopil. So they are coming to Slovakia. And from Slovakia, there is another organization that is going to take all this medical aid to Uzhhorod, which is right across the border from Slovakia. Then our friends from YWAM are going to go pick it up. Half of the medical aid goods are going to go to Good Samaritan, and half of it is going to be at the YWAM warehouse where our friends from the east, our friends who are taking things to the east, have access. They can just come, load their vans, pick it up, take it to the east. So again, to remind you that we are working with this humanitarian and medical aid is going to be is going only to civilians, to help civilians. And as you know, a lot of them need medical help right now, especially those that are being evacuated from cities that were bombed. It's just horrible, guys. Some of the stories that we receive, it's horrific. It will take so much for people to go through. Kids who are stuck in a basement with their dad parents who were injured and they couldn't get to the hospital for a couple of days, and strangers just getting them, putting them on the bus to evacuate. And like one lady came, she evacuated, she came to Zaporizhia with 4 kids, and she's like, none of these are my kids. Some parents died immediately. Some parents stayed there and they're fighting. Some parents were dead and kids. She was getting on the bus. She just grabbed one kid from the basement that was sitting next to his dead parents. So the psychological destruction that is happening on the human level, medical needs that are there, psychological needs that are there, are just tremendous, and that will be going on for quite some time. So being able to partner with people like that can bring medical aid, bring it to Uzhhorod, and we can take it to Ternopil warehouse, and then take it to the east, take it to people in need. I know that Lviv Good Samaritan Portable Hospital, the fact that they were able to get it across the border from Europe to Lviv, set it up, and help people who are coming, that was a miracle. You know, they were risking to go there because everyone was pulling US citizens out of the country, and they decided, no, we're going in. One of my friends, he's translating there for the doctors. He left Kiev and he is doing it there. So this will be a great help. This is going to be a great help. That's one of the tools where you see that this is happening. You see that your donations are doing it. And as Danik said, we cannot share everything. So many, 10 plus, close to 15 partners right now in different cities, and everything that they're doing, even processing all of it, I will be honest, it's hard. Emotionally, it's very hard to process and look through all of the videos, see what people are going through, reading their stories, reading how devastated their situation is, reading that they're stuck and they cannot leave. Then, like being happy that we are ready, that we are able to help, seeing the food and how joyful they are that they will have food for a week or 2 weeks. That's amazing, and at the same time, it's heartbreaking. One of the biggest, and this is the lead that we just got yesterday, and as much as we are trying to limit, to make sure that our resources are going to be, sustainable for a little bit. Again, as Danik said, we are not planning for like, what are we going to do for a year? No, in the next couple of weeks, while the war is still going on, we still have 50,000. So we don't want to spread ourselves too thin, but at the same time, send the money where the need is. Since week 2, if you will watch that video, I was talking about city Mariupol. You saw the theater building that was bombed, and 1,000 people were there in the basement, and how they were trying to get people, the rescue teams were trying to get people from Mariupol. It was besieged. No one could get, corridors were not open. People were not able to get to Mariupol, get out from Mariupol. The last week, the corridors were open. People were evacuated. And a lot of people are going to Berdyansk, and you can see that's next city, a little bit south. Berdyansk, you can see it right there on the map. People are getting from Mariupol to Berdyansk, and then from there, or a lot of them are going straight to Zaporizhia, where it's more safe. So we just yesterday got in touch with people in Berdyansk that are doing what we are doing, that are helping people, and they have access to food, they have access to help refugees. So I'll be, right after our meeting, I'll be getting on the call with them. I did send them all the details, of our work, what we do, how we can help. And now we will need to establish communication of how they can use that help, and then we'll probably start working today. If everything works, we'll start working today, and we'll try to send them money today so that we can help those people, because Mariupol was one of the places where my heart was broken. I'm like, all those people surrounded, Russian soldiers were not allowing for humanitarian aid to come from Ukraine, and they were trying, for a media purpose, they were trying to bring humanitarian aid from Russia and give it to those people that was both in Kherson and Mariupol. and people would refuse to take it from Russians because they came with video cameras trying to show that, oh, Russia helps Ukrainians. People were refusing to take it, and they said, we would rather starve, but we will not take it from you. So people were in desperate need. Then finally last week, when it was open and people are able to get to Berdyansk and Zaporizhia, we are able to help them there. And this is like one of the answers to prayers, because I've been praying, I've been asking, like, God, give us someone who can help us get there. And I connected with several people who work in that region. And one guy, he loaded the truck, Sergei Sayenko, loaded truck, tried to go there, couldn't get there, went to Donetsk and Lugansk instead, because he had a way to get there. He's like, I wasn't able to get to Mariupol. So finally, like, we'll be talking to those folks in Berdyansk after this meeting, and we'll continue. There will be one additional spot where we will be able to help. So this is our work. This is what we do. This is the day-to-day operations. That's the logistics work that needs to be done. Organizations that are contacting us to help, the organizations that we're working with, the ways that are opening right now, and we are able to switch from one thing to another right there on the spot. And this is a very very good side of this organization being a grassroots, as Daniel says, a grassroots kind of starting thing, that we are able to be flexible like that we didn't have a established big organizations that we would be committed to, that we at this point we can say, hey guys, yeah, I know we're talking about it, but now we have a way to get food and have access to food there in the East. So instead, we'll send money there and help people there. So it's a blessing that we are able to just shift things like that and be organic like that and help where help is actually needed. So yeah, that's what we have. If you guys have any questions, if you can just speak up or type it in the chat, and we'll be more than happy to answer.
Reminder that Danik is my Russian equivalent, Daniel.
Yeah, I'm switching several times. I remember to call you Daniel, but it's like I'm just looking at your face. My brain is
yeah, exactly.
Danik.
For those of you that are confused, yeah, I said that this call is going to be shorter, but actually it became a full 1 hour call. If you do have questions, this is your time to ask. If not, just want to say big thank you to everybody who is watching now, who will be watching on YouTube. Thank you for being a part of it. If you have questions for me, and several people have called me and asked more questions about the details. If you want to see more, maybe you'd like to see more details, I'm more than happy to show them to you. And yeah, we're completely transparent. And I believe that's all. Thank you, guys. See you next Saturday. Let's hope the war ends, and let's hope that we soon will have no work to do, because everybody will have all the food and water and shelter. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what has happened in the last 3 weeks, right? It's been only 3 weeks since we all began this, and clearly I could not have imagined that it would have turned into more than just a couple $1,000 sending over to friends and family. Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day. Have a good Saturday. Bye-bye.